Hey folks, welcome to Unqualified, the fantasy football podcast that's been watching Hard Knocks since 2017.
Yeah.
I'm your producer, Rob Diesendorf, here with Sean Brady and Scott Johnson, two fantasy football rivals that have been sabotaging each other for years, but they decided to come together to help you win your league and make your friends look like idiots. You look what I did with that?
Idiot. I did.
Idiots. To make it a little dark.
Kind of Napoleon Dynamite.
Idiots.
Freaking idiot. Football season is here.
Yeah, we know football season's here. And because why?
Hard Knocks. We're in the
Hard
thick
Knocks
of
is
it.
finally airing.
In the thick of it.
I didn't really get into Hard Knocks when it first came out.
Oh,
that
this
sounds
is
like
the
a
year
huge
to get
problem.
into
You know
it.
what? You know what got me into Hard Knocks? Bob Wiley.
Yeah.
Huh?
Hit.
I'll never forget that.
If you saw our Instagram story, just absolutely eviscerated by Sean. Well, that's a negative word. I meant like positively eviscerated by Sean last week. We talked about Bob Wiley and who you would storm Area 51 with.
I only eviscerated in positive ways. Come on.
Positively eviscerated. What is the word I'm looking for?
Killed it. I killed it.
You killed it. That's what I meant. Damn it. Idiot.
Killed it. Destroyed it.
Make your
Rob,
friends look
demolished it.
like idiots.
Rob,
Like
this is the year to get into Hard Knocks because the personalities are just unreal. John
Off the
Gruden,
wall.
Antonio Brown, whoever the hell is on defense on that team. It's just
I don't even know.
it's just a powder keg waiting to explode, and I am so excited about it.
As exciting as The Bachelor.
I mean, it's
Better.
probably like equivalent. It's the same human drama. I feel like Antonio Brown would be like the perfect, he'd be like the perfect villain on The Bachelorette. I feel like he would be top notch on that show.
That's such a good comparison. You'd be like that guy, Luke P.
Oh yeah, I was rooting for that guy
Ew, why?
because I thought that The Bachelorette deserved him.
To crash and burn.
Yeah, that's what she deserves. That, and she wound up with the cool guy.
Not
So
the
good on
hero
her.
we need, but the hero we deserve. What's that thing in Dark Knight?
Yes, not the guy that she needs right now, but the one she deserves, or something of that nature.
Yeah.
Cool guys are canceled.
Side note: she almost picked that like random guitar guy. What a terrible choice.
Yeah, I don't know
she
what's
did.
going on with that.
She did pick him, and then he had a girlfriend. So
Yeah. And he wanted to promote his music.
Oh my
I-
god.
Pretty sure he proposed.
On that note,
and then it
I think
crashed
it's.
and burned.
I think we should just get into this draft.
Yeah, let's get into the mock draft. Good call.
Moving on.
Fuck you, Jed.
All right, so we're waiting. We're playing the waiting game now. We got the 2.5 minute countdown now. What do you call it? The little preseason to the mock draft. The
The
pre-mock.
suspense is killing me. The suspense is absolutely killing me right
Rob, are you ready?
Terrified. I'm absolutely terrified.
Are you ready though? I know you're terrified, but are you terrified because you're not ready, or are you ready?
Honestly, I think I'm going to do pretty good, but I say that every year, and then
Pretty well.
my team turns out.
now. Just a little quick little setup for all the listeners out there. We are all in the same mock. I have the first pick, Scott has the 5th pick, and then Rob has the 10th pick. So we're nice and spread out. So we have some time to kind of buy some time, talk about each round as we go. But with the first overall pick, I mean, there's some decisions to be made here.
There are.
Seems like I always get the worst fucking pick.
It's your fault. No, actually, we joined this mock like 15 minutes before we were supposed to go, and you chose 10. You had choices. I chose 5, but you chose 10.
Interesting choice there.
Yeah, Crimea River.
Bold decision. We have to let these people in the mock know that they're on the podcast. We need to tell them.
I'm sending a message right now.
There's a
Oh,
Team
yes.
Yates in there. I don't think it's Field, but there is one. There's also Team Pop. I don't think it's Greg Popovich,
Oh,
the
man.
illustrious
All right.
coach of the Spurs.
Who do you think is the best drafter here? We have Team... I can't read that one. Team Ritz. Love their crackers. Team Carrera. Yates. Sabine Jr. and Team Pop. some good names out there. I think Team Pop is a sleeper. We got to keep our eye on him.
I think Team Ritz. I got my money on Team Ritz. I mean, I think the three of us will do well. Hopefully, it feels like Carrera is going to screw it up, and he or she takes some random like veterans that are past their prime, like with Sean McCoy in like round 4 or 5. Yates is just pretending to be Field Yates, so nah. Sabine Jr. If it was
first
Sabine
one to
Senior,
auto pick,
I would get it.
Yeah. Who's the first one to auto pick here? Is it Sabine Jr. or is it Rob? Even though he's going to be doing the podcast,
I think it's Ruangrat. That's number 2, right after you. Ooh.
Oh
yeah.
I love that sound. That sound is like a drug hitting the veins
what
right
was
there.
Shit out of me.
Oh my god! All right, so at number 1 overall, I'm going to take my time here so that we can get into some analysis. But you can't go wrong with any of these top 4 running backs. The only one that's a little bit shaky, honestly, at the moment is Zeke Elliott. But at the moment, I'm not too worried about him either. I've talked a lot about Alvin Kamara throughout the offseason, but I have to go with my guy from last year, Christian McCaffrey, especially in a full PPR league. You can't go wrong with him. So he's my first overall pick there. At the
over
top.
Saquon?
Over Saquon, yeah.
All right. So
And then Saquon immediately goes 2, just for the reference.
Just a little background here. It's Tuesday, August 6th we're doing this, so we're releasing this later. So there could be some things that change throughout the week, but Zeke is still holding out, and it's been said he's not going to play this season without a contract. So he's fallen a little bit on draft boards, but typically was going like 2 overall a couple weeks ago, and now he's doing.
I was going like 4 probably.
4th. Yeah, Melvin Gordon is fallen a little bit as well, but David Johnson, of course, is 6th now,
rising.
Thanks a lot, ESPN. Screwing it up for us. One
of the things I've noticed the past couple of days, these rankings have been jumping around like crazy. It's only going to continue to happen until the end of August, but I think that top 4 is pretty much set in stone unless Zeke decides, I'm not going to show up ever. But they went pretty much in order. I went McCaffrey, then Saquon went 2, Kamara 3, Zeke 4. That's pretty much par for the course. Just different orders.
And now it's me, and got a little. Sorry, Rob. Were you gonna say something?
Oh, go ahead. I'll chime in.
I insist, please.
I was gonna say I have my eyes on. I would have my eyes on Odell first.
You could take him
he's
at 10,
Giants, but now I'm wondering if it's even worth taking him if he's on the Browns.
I like him there. I know Scott doesn't love him, but I think we're going to get to see him unleashed now this year with a quarterback that can throw the ball over 30 yards down the field. So I think he's in for a good year. I think he's getting priced appropriately. He's a mid-second round pick, late second round pick. That's what he should be going as, but I like him. So if you really like him as a player and you're the end of the first round and you definitely want him, you're not going to get him in your next pick,
Right.
So you might as well.
Right. Yeah. It's important to me.
So
also, I just want to note that Zach Ritz is saying hello to all the you cuties out there.
What's up, Zach?
People in the draft are chiming in on the pod.
We got to tell them to listen
today.
in.
I got my money on you, Ritz. Team Ritz. We're not screwing anything up. I picked, by the way, you cuties, I picked David Johnson at 5. And then Le'Veon Bell Le'Veon Bell was picked 6. Todd Gurley 7, DeAndre Hopkins 8, Michael Thomas 9, and now we're up to Bobo.
Okay.
So we got Devontae Adams on the board. He's still there. Julio Jones, Melvin Gordon are the top 3, and then you got Travis Kelce if you want to make the plunge at tight end. You also have Odell. So you got some decisions.
About Tyreek Hill?
You could take Tyreek Hill. He's not suspended as of now. He is hurt though. A little slightly hurt. Should be fine for the season though.
So Rob, I would say. Oh, he did it. He picked Odell. Now he's got a big decision to make. You're not going to get another pick till the end of the 3rd round. Do you take a running back or do you double up on big-time wide receivers?
I think I'm got to double up on wide receivers because I have to take my advantage where I have it, right?
I mean, I don't love the running backs available, so I think I would probably do the same, to be honest with you. I love
what am I
going to
do? Settle for a mediocre running back?
Unfortunately, at the end of the first round, you kind of already are. So I think we're on the same wavelength.
It's either draft 2 superstars or draft a superstar and a dummy, right?
Scott, what would you do here?
That's my choice.
I would pick. I agree. I think you go best available. It's Devontae Adams there, and you just hope for on the second go around, pick 39 to 40. I guess that would be that there's two starting caliber running backs. Maybe a Chris Carson, maybe Damian Williams fall there, and that's a pretty good rounded out roster with two of the best wide receivers. Yeah,
and I would say like it would be different if Melvin Gordon was on a team and reporting to camp, like because he's still on the board here. But I'm not a big Joe Mixon guy. James Conner is kind of falling down draft boards, and he's not. He doesn't have like the sexiness. I love Devontae Adams. That's a great pick. And then Dalvin Cook is like end of the second round. So that end of the first round turn is a difficult place to be in. But if you have the cojones to do it, go double wide receiver.
Cojones, I love that. I was just typing in our group chat, and I said, well, not our group chat, in the draft lobby, and I made sure that people knew what clip art to look for. It's a gray background with orange lettering and three faces with black outlines. I feel like that's very descriptive. Like, if they want to look us up and find us, they can now.
Oh, they'll find us. Barry Sabine Jr. He's gonna be checking us out. Shout out to Barry. Let's see who he picked in his first round. We got Gurley. We're gonna have to ask him about that in the chat because that is very interesting.
We'll ask him in the channels. Yeah, he's picking again right now. What is he going with? What is he going? Come on.
He's taking his time. Ooh, he's probably debating between Kelsey and Hill, is my guess.
Would you go there? What would you do there, Sean?
Oh God, if I picked Gurley, he took Kelsey, I wouldn't have because there's so many question marks with Gurley. I would probably have taken a surefire guy that's going to get production like Antonio Brown. As much as I'm kind of down on him this year, I think you need a steady second round pick if you take Todd Gurley in the first round.
He's also questionable, so. And if you haven't seen his feet, check it out. Antonio Brown, it's disgusting. It's absolutely
totally
agree. So let's see. Team Sabine Jr. went Travis Kelce. Team Yates, not to be confused with Field, went James Conner. And I got my second pick now. So I have David Johnson already. I could pair it with Joe Mixon. Or looks like Dalvin Cook is the next running back. Or one of the top wide receivers. So I think what would be going through my head here is pair it with an elite guy, wide receiver. And I feel like the production between Joe Mixon and someone I can get in round 3 or 4 isn't. It's kind of negligible. Like I could potentially get Nick Chubb or Marlon Mack or Aaron Jones later.
Yeah,
and
good point.
That's fine with me. Like Joe Mixon is on such a bad team. AJ Green's out for a little bit. So
I know who you're picking. Let me call it for you. Can I call it? I think you're picking Juju here.
No,
Juju?
I'm not. I'm picking Tyreek Hill. As much as I do not like him as a person, I just can't pass that up. Yeah, he's questionable, but he'll be fine by week 1. And Pat Mahomes throwing it to him. I just feel like there's going to be a big disconnect with. And I like Juju. Don't get me wrong. I'd rather have Antonio Brown because it feels like Juju was a really like one of the top number 2 guys.
Yeah.
But how does he do without the best wide receiver in football on the other side getting double coverage? I don't know.
I mean, think about it. There's some question marks there because Antonio Brown is that gravitational force. We know he just goes right there. We know that he's going to produce regardless. The only question really is how he's going to produce with Carr. And I think that's probably going to be answered pretty early on. I think he's, again, he's not in the upswing, but he's still in his prime. He's at the down end of his prime, but it's been a historic prime. So Antonio Brown is kind of growing on me as we continue to get closer to draft day here.
I like that.
Side note about Hill. I was playing Madden the other day, and he's like a cheat code. Like you just tap the button that he is, and he just like sprints down the field, and it's unreal. So
what are the top 5 current players to play with in Madden? I would assume Tariq Cohen, Tyreek Hill.
Ooh yeah.
Maybe Lamar Jackson.
Honestly, yeah. I was going to say Lamar Jackson, and Cam Newton is still a little bit overpowered as a goal line running back. He just trucks people. It's crazy. And who else? And then you got to go one defensive guy. I think Aaron Donald right now is like,
oh yeah, the juke move or the
unstoppable
the spin move.
Oh my God, I could not be happier with this end of round 2, beginning of round 3. My guy here, Dalvin Cook, and my other guy, Keenan Allen. Like I could not ask for more.
Not Mike Evans? Well, keep in mind, yeah, this is a PPR league, straight full point PPR.
Exactly.
That does
Mike
skew
Evans
it a little bit for us.
Evans was a huge part of one of my championship last year. But in a PPR league, as long as he's on the field, Keenan Allen is my guy. Down the stretch, I know second half of the year he's going to go bonkers. So it's close. This is like those two guys. I would probably take 50-50. And just for right now, I'm feeling Keenan Allen, so I'm going with him.
Now, what's the thought process between getting Dalvin Cook in round 2? So you have you don't have Saquon. You have Christian McCaffrey. You have Dalvin Cook and now Keenan Allen. So what's the upside to picking Dalvin Cook there instead of putting Mike Evans and Keenan Allen as your next 2 picks and then getting running backs later?
The biggest thing that's leading me to do that is I've seen the wide receivers in round 4, at the end of round 4, and the beginning of round 5, and I like them. I've usually found guys like one of the Vikings receivers will slip. Maybe Robert Woods will slip down. Even Cooper Kupp I kind of like there. And Dalvin Cook I think could be a league-winning running back. And to me, I would have picked him ahead of Joe Mixon. He's the type of guy that, he is a cut above the guys that you mentioned earlier in the round 4-5 turn with Carry On. And actually Carry On's pretty early now, but with Marlon Mack and all those guys. So Christian McCaffrey, big floor. Dalvin Cook, big ceiling. And then Keenan Allen is kind of in the middle. I definitely like how my team's starting out.
Like that.
Did you see what Sabine said there in the chat?
Well, let's see.
You asked him on his thoughts about Gurley, I think.
He is the guy who always beats me in my league, him and Le'Veon Bell. So you know what? He's going with the tried and true method. If you can't beat him, join him. That's really what it's all about.
Not a bad strategy.
He's up again.
In the meantime, I had my 3rd round pick, and I picked T.Y. Hilton. I don't love him in straight PPR leagues compared to other guys. I could have picked Adam Thielen there. Maybe I should have. Getting a little buyer's remorse because he has such a influx of targets and receptions. Adam Thielen over a T.Y. Hilton guy who's a home run threat. But I don't know. Pairing Tyreek Hill and T.Y. Hilton, who's the number 1 receivers on their team, on their both pass-heavy teams, it's not bad. And then David Johnson is going to catch a ton of balls too, so that should cover me there.
Yeah, and I would say T.Y. seems to be evolving into more of a steady Eddie, if you will. He was a lot more of that last year. And I think that fully healthy, second year now with Luck back, I think he could explode. I think he's one of the guys that I could see leading the NFL in receiving yards. Him, Julio. Yeah. There's only a handful of guys up there. And he's definitely one of them. And if you can get that in round 3,
go for it.
You know how I feel about T.Y. Hilton.
All right, so I used my first 2 picks on superstar wide receivers. Now I have to pick the king of the garbage for running backs. Who is the king of the garbage for me right now?
Look, this guy is not even the king of the garbage. He's a straight up steal here. Nick Chubb, if he falls to you in this next pick, he's got to be one of the 2 because...
Or do I just go even crazier and just pick the best tight end I can find?
No, definitely not now.
Too early.
All 3 are gone. Yeah. The top 3 are gone. I would do...
Quarterback.
So you got, in the order right now on the
Nick
board,
Chubb.
there's...
So you would say Nick Chubb.
There's Kerryon Johnson,
Chubb,
Adam
personally.
Thielen, Brandon Cooks, Stephon Diggs, and Nick Chubb in that order out there.
Yeah.
Or don't
and
pick
you
Nick
think
Chubb.
Nick Chubb is the best.
I think that top 5, you can't really go wrong. The only one I have a question
mark
on
Chubb,
is...
though?
I just think the Browns are going to be so productive. He was awesome. If you click on him, look at his last
I agree with that.
7 or so games from last year. Scott, I'm a little concerned that Kerryon Johnson is going too high right now. What do you think?
I completely agree. 28 and basically round 3 is way too early for him. I don't know. I have no idea why he jumped that much.
Even as a person that doesn't have advanced fantasy football knowledge, I think about how well the team is going to do almost as much as I think about how the individual player is going to do.
Yeah, it's important.
Oh, yeah.
You don't want to
right in that?
overthink it too much with that.
Absolutely.
Though. Some people are all right, well, they're going to be down so much because their defense is bad, so they're going to have to throw it. So I'm going to pick Matthew Stafford because the Lions' defense is so bad. It's I wouldn't look that far into it. I think there were some stats that said teams that had a winning record most often than not didn't lead the NFL, but had more passing than running anyway. So it's just a passing league nowadays. So don't look too far into it, but I would definitely say, more often than not, draft on good teams.
Hey, little validation.
Barry Sabine. He likes it.
Sabine just complimented me on my pick.
Oh, good pick, Rob.
Barry Sabine, baby.
So I'm starting to like this guy a lot. Sort of like
New friend of the pod.
Absolutely.
New friend of the pod.
All right, so now the question, Rob, is are you going to look for the best team available here for your next player? Because you have a couple Rams receivers on the board. You have a couple Minnesota receivers on the board. You have an Indianapolis running back. All three of those teams should be in the towards the top of the league offensively. What's he going to go with?
Good God.
25 seconds left.
Just tell me which team you think is going to do the best.
I mean, I love the Rams, but I'm kind of a Rams homer, so you can't go wrong with another wide receiver here. But Chubb is a little bit less steady than the other running backs out there. So
I need another
running back?
running back. Fuck.
Oh, here's the panic. I love this.
Shit.
Should have been listening to the pod.
I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot.
Oh.
Why didn't I take Johnson?
Josh Jacobs?
To be honest, I kind of like that pick. It's very ballsy because he's a rookie, but there's a huge vacuum of production in that Oakland offense, and if Josh Jacobs is 75% of what the Raiders think he is, that's going to be an awesome pick. It's definitely definitely risky.
There's no one else there to vulture carries. They had Isaiah Crowell, but he got injured a month or two ago, so he's the only guy. And we've seen rookie running backs lately. There's definitely a lull there from 2009 to 2013. But then once Gurley and Gordon, Melvin Gordon didn't have a great rookie season, but once all these guys came into the league, kind of lit it on fire. Saquon, Ezekiel Elliott, Josh Jacobs is a late first rounder, but they're gonna give him the ball. That's for sure.
You guys know me. I don't mind taking a risk.
And I'm going to commend you there because that's a good risk for you. I would say you in the past would have just seen Derrick Henry on the board and just picked it because he's a running back. But I would much rather have Josh Jacobs than Derrick Henry because we've seen Derrick Henry's floor and it's not pretty. And Josh Jacobs could be a stud. We don't know yet.
Right. Yeah, Derrick Henry had 60 yards
chance
every game, no more than 60 yards for 9 games in a row, something like that last year. And then he exploded against the number one rush defense in the Jacksonville Jaguars at the time for 238 yards or something like that, which is out of left field.
You're essentially paying for 2 weeks, I would say 2 weeks of insane production and then 1 week of good production with Derrick Henry, and everything else was just a mess.
Yeah,
absolute mess. You couldn't start.
I feel like if I take 2 really good wide receivers, I take 1 pretty good running back, I might as well go ahead and take a risk on the rookie because I'd rather have a risky rookie that could pay off big time than to have a boring one that just does nothing for the whole season.
I mean, if Jacobs pays off, you have the best draft so far. And there's something to be said for that. Giving your team that ceiling is huge because a lot of guys just go super safe the whole draft and their team scores 90 points a week and they don't make the playoffs.
So right now, Rob, your team is Nick Chubb, Josh Jacobs as your running backs, and then Odell Beckham and Devontae Adams. So you do have 2 Cleveland players, someone to keep in mind, but that is a solid team right there. Sean, you got Christian McCaffrey, Dalvin Cook, and Keenan Allen after 3 picks. I have David Johnson, Tyreek Hill, T.Y. Hilton. Yeah, I love your draft so far, Rob. Bab.
Scott's wide receivers are scary. They're scaring me right now.
That's another good point is that I don't know if we talk about a lot is diversity. Diversifying the players that you have.
What in the hell
so
is
you're not
diversity?
taking too many from one team.
It's an old wooden ship.
Diversity is an old wooden ship.
Used during the Civil War era.
Ooh, Scott, I got a question for you coming up. So, right before your pick, we see Brandon Cooks go, and then Robert Woods from the same team. What do you think of this? These situations where you have, it's all over the place this year. We have players in the same position on the same team, lumped in together on draft boards. We have the Vikings receivers are right next to each other, basically.
Yep.
All 3 Rams receivers are within a round and a half of each other.
New England running backs.
Later on, we're going to see New England running backs and San Francisco running backs. They're probably a couple rounds out the New England ones, but they're all lumped together. How do you handle a situation like that when you're drafting?
Yeah, I mean, you look at, first of all, I'd look at their past production and injury history. So out of those 3 wide receivers, Brandon Cooks, he's had 1,000 yards the past 4 years. Robert Woods just eclipsed 1,000 yards, but only once. So repeatability is a little less likely than Brandon Cooks, who has burners. Cooper Kupp got injured last year, never had 1,000 yards. So that's the first thing I would look at, to be honest with you, and say, all right, what's the most likely thing to happen? The most likely thing to happen is Brandon Cooks eclipses 1,000 yards. But you already know his body of work. You already know what he's going to do. He's never going to get you double-digit touchdowns, and he's going to get you like 1,000 to 1,200 yards. So he's not going to light the league on fire. If you're good with that and you have a risky guy like maybe, I hate to say it, but Antonio Brown and Juju Smith and guys like that are kind of risky this year going into the year. Odell Beckham, because there's such new situations. Maybe you have a risky guy that could get you that 1,500 yards and 10 touchdowns. And then you pair it with a Brandon Cooks who's like steady Eddie to the nth degree and a wide receiver. So I would look at pass production. And for that Rams wide receiver situation, I'm not taking Cooper Kupp in any league this year. Even a PPR, Robert Woods is a solid flex guy, maybe low-end wide receiver 2 for me. If he falls to me, I'm not going to reach for him. And then Brandon Cooks, I'm really happy with taking him where he's going.
Yeah, I mean, I think higher on Woods than you are, but I agree on Kupp. Like, I'm sitting here at the end of round 4, and one pick before me, Stephon Diggs went. He went super late, which I was almost hoping he would fall as my wide receiver 2. I would have loved that, but I still can't take Kupp here. I mean, he was so tantalizing on a per-game basis last year, but again, that's a per-game basis. It's
repeatability.
Derrick Henry, you know? So here, I'm going to go with Kenny Golladay as my wide receiver 2. Not the sexiest name on the board, but he's going to be productive. Like, he was one of those guys that, and don't forget now that Golden Tate's no longer in the picture there, so he's kind of the number one guy in that offense in the passing game. Love that. He's kind of like under the radar this year too, which I love.
He definitely is. 1,000 yards last year.
Exactly. And then now in my flex, like, I'm looking at 2 different guys here, and just because this is a PPR league, I'm going to take James White as my flex. The only reason I didn't take Marlon Mack over him there is because those are 2 guys I see kind of similar and in the same boat as far as production this year. And just because it's a PPR league, I would say I'd take James White like maybe 52% of the time over Marlon Mack. But I'm happy with my team. I think I have a pretty high floor, which is huge in the first 5 rounds.
What do you think? I was going to say about the New England running back situation, because you asked about like what do we do with these situations. New England running back situation depends on if it's PPR or not, right? James White, like you just said, you're taking him in PPR leagues more often than not, and then Sony Michel, we know how he did last year. He didn't catch a ton at all. So standard leagues, maybe you give the nod to him. Is that what you're looking at in some of the other situations, like San Francisco running back situation as well?
Yeah, I mean, with Sony Michel, I owned him last year, and he was like, it seemed to people that didn't own him that he had an awesome year, but again, he was in and out of the lineup. He had 3 really good games, weeks 4, 5, and 6. Then he got hurt, and then he had a good game in week 12, and then he was like kind of slowed down. He had a good game in week 16, and that's not enough for me. Like, I need a guy that's going to be in the lineup. James White was much more dependable, and he takes less hits because his touches are worth more than Sony Michel's. Sony Michel's a good player, don't get me wrong, but I think he's going to be on the sidelines sometimes because he gets hurt and because he doesn't catch the ball. Like, there was a Super Bowl prop. It was like over under half a catch in the Super Bowl, which tells you all you need to know about his receiving game. James White PPR is like stealing. It's like printing free money in round 5. Like, he was an RB1 last year in PPR, and he was almost an RB1 in standard. Now, I think he's going to regress a little bit, but still, you're looking at a guy that is probably a running back too.
Definitely in PPR leagues, yeah. And they got Damian Harris too, so Sonny Michel might have a clogged backfield. Rex Burkhead's still there, I think.
He is. Oh, you stole Marlon Mack. Nice. I was going to pick him. If I
filled out my roster with Aaron Jones as my second running back, and then Marlon Mack as my flex. I figure like these guys had great years last year, even though they didn't play the full year. David Johnson played the full year, didn't have a great year last year, so I got a good mix of. It's always about risking and like taking safe bets when you need to. David Johnson, then Aaron Jones. That's a good combo. Aaron Jones scored 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 touchdowns last year in 10 games that he started, 11 games. And then Marlon Mack, similar stats actually to Aaron Jones last year, but when he was out there was extremely productive. So, and I did take Marlon Mack and T.Y. Hilton, who are on the same team, but what are you going to do?
Yeah, but I think that's an offense that's kind of primed for another good year. So I think you're in good shape. I would tell people not to shy away from that. If you drafted Brandon Cooks and Robert Woods last year, and you had both of them on your team, you were fine. You had a good year.
100%. Sean, a little nice comment there. This mock is fire emoji. Nice job, fellas. It is. It's going well. It's fire. Rob, what do you got?
I'm going with Ridley.
Calvin Ridley.
Oh, that's my guy. That's my guy right there. Good for your team name, too.
This drafting order is really weird.
Sneak.
I feel like I don't pick for ages.
Well, you don't.
It is.
You're the 10th pick. You goes 1 through 10 and then reverses it for the second round and then back and forth like a snake.
Right now, Rob is in what I call the wasteland. It's the beginning of round 6 is where you start to see a huge drop in consistency, and you're just looking at guys that you have to find a diamond in the rough here.
First guy off the bench, basically. Unless you're taking a tight end. Oh, he took a tight end. Hunter Henry.
Yep.
I like that. He's got untapped potential. We haven't seen his ceiling yet, and it could be like Gronk light. We never know.
We got team pop up. So went Calvin Ridley and Hunter Henry for Rob, and then the next person took Alshon Jeffrey, who I don't know what to think of him. He's getting drafted sort of late, but he hasn't had 1,000 yards in a couple years. So, you piece of
Big Mike, the BMW, Big Mike Williams gets stolen by Team Pop. I told you Team Pop was one to watch.
Dude, I had 2 more picks, and I was going to pick him. Son of a B. I'm really teed off right now. Really jaded up.
I'm going to read out some of these names on the board right now. Lamar Miller, Tyler Lockett, Sammy Watkins, Allen Robinson, A.J. Green, Evan Ingram, Kenyon Drake, Philip Lindsay, David Montgomery. I'm not feeling this round. If I can, I'm trying to pick my tight end here like Rob did, because I feel like this is the round where I don't love anybody.
Do I risk it and take A.J. Green here? He's going to be out a couple of regular season games. We know that. We don't know how long, though.
I mean, he increases your team's ceiling tremendously down the stretch. This is the round. This is around the range I would like to take him.
Right.
When he was going in round 3, I was not happy with it.
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
Quick note on Allen Robinson. I owned him last year, and it was maybe the most frustrating experience I've ever had, because he was just good enough to not put in the lineup, to not bench rather, and not good enough to feel comfortable with. I spent the whole year trying to fill in his spot. Not fun. So
he only scored in 3 games last year, and he had 4 touchdowns. Last touchdown he had was in week 10.
Yeah,
he played 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks in a row where he didn't get 1 touchdown and didn't get over 85 yards.
It was brutal. It was.
So he really
maddening.
was on a cold streak there at the end. I didn't realize it was that cold of a cold streak. The only problem with Tyler Lockett here as my third wide receiver is that this is a PPR league again, and him and Allen Robinson are kind of big play guys, so they're not going to get the catch volume that you're really looking for out of your, first guy off the bench for wide receiver. Plus, I do have Tyreek Hill and T.Y. Hilton, great tandem there, but kind of injury prone in the last couple of months and years. So I could either go with a tight end here, like one of the 4th best tight end or 5th best after those big 3, or I could go A.J. Green. And I don't know.
I don't envy your position right now. This is not fun.
Such a bad. I'll just go A.J. Green just to have depth there. He's not starting. I know he's going to be out for a couple of games, but again, raises the floor of the team pretty substantially. And then if I have A.J. Green back by week 3 or 4, and I have him, T.Y. Hilton, and Tyreek Hill,
nice,
and maybe Marlon Mack or Aaron Jones falters at my running back spot, I take them out of the flex, put A.J. Green in there, and I'm sitting pretty. As long as the injury bug doesn't hit me.
I love it. That's exactly where people should be taking A.J. Green. It's
Round
almost
6.
It's almost a blessing that he did get injured, because now he's going at a much more reasonable price.
Right.
Oh, somebody picked Evan Ingram. I was definitely looking at him there.
That's what I was going to pick instead.
I've been pretty quiet on him all offseason. We're kind of noted Evan Engram haters from the past, but
I'm coming around.
he's the only receiver there at the moment, so he could do a lot worse. And he was like a top 5 tight end his rookie year when Odell was hurt. So you're kind of looking at a similar situation. He's kind of a very intriguing round 6 pick at this point.
I was reading an article about Evan Engram and like, could he be the 4th best wide receiver? Tight end this year after those big 3? And the stats were when he was healthy and without Odell, because Odell was hurt, like you just said, a couple of games when he was in. It stunted Evan Engram's growth. Growth in his second year. And typically those tight ends, they have a solid rookie year, nothing special like he did. And then the second year they take off, and he really didn't like Kittle did. But it was because he was hurt. There's no other pass catchers there, and Odell was like in and out of the lineup. So now that Odell's gone and he's fully healthy and the top guy, I think he's going to explode this year now.
Well, who got him? Team Carrera with a nice steal there in that case, because now I have to reach, and I have to do it. I have to reach for O.J. Howard here because I don't want to be left with David Njoku as my tight end. So I pick O.J. Howard at the end of the 6th, and I got to go with my guy here. In a PPR league, Tariq Cohen.
Yep.
First guy
They're
going to
go Lamar Miller, bud.
Oh, no way. No way. I mean, with Donta Foreman getting released, I mean, I guess I could see him going there, but I love Tariq Cohen. This another guy. He was in the 11th running back in PPR last year. He's not going to repeat that, but on a bye week or a per game basis, he could find his way into my lineup at some point.
Could we? Are we done touting Donta Foreman now? I'm done.
Yes,
with that guy.
I'm done. I'm done with it.
It's done. It's over.
They should
I just
trade
want to
for
make sure
Melvin
we were on
Gordon.
the same page there because it's getting ridiculous.
We gave him a shot. He's now the Devontae Parker of running backs.
Yeah. Wow. Ooh, I like that.
Oh, Barry Sabine is a Giants fan.
Knew you like him.
See his chat?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he loved that pick by Scott then with Evan Engram. He's a big Evan Engram guy.
Big Evan Engram guy. So I just took the plunge in quarterback, Deshaun Watson, round 7.
Oh, that's your guy. I'm
That's my
happy
guy.
for you.
Round 7, pick 5. Like I'll take that. I'm rounding out my roster now, and the only reason I took quarterback here is because I felt really good about the rest of my roster with 3 solid running backs and 3 solid wide receivers. If you don't feel good about it, keep on stacking them up. Maybe take a tight end if you feel fine about them, but you need another position guy. I felt good about everything else, and Deshaun Watson's my guy, so I didn't want to wait potentially on another quarterback.
So let's take a look at Scott's team right now. Oh, I can't. Oh, actually, yes, I can. Let's see. Oh, wow, I love this team. I'm jealous of this team, to be honest with you.
Hey, thanks.
That's a scary roster. It's a very Scott-esque roster, too.
It looks scary.
The wide receivers, scary looking. Let's take a look at Rob halfway through. Nick Chubb. Ooh. If Ridley and Jacobs pan out, that is quite a squad right there.
Yeah. Nick Chubb, Josh Jacobs as the running backs. Then you got Odell Beckham,
Can only hope.
Devontae Adams, Calvin Ridley as wide receivers, and Hunter Henry as tight end. And then
Okay,
Sean.
here we go.
Oh, Rob, you're up. Round 7, pick 10. Sean, after 7 rounds, we got Christian McCaffrey, Dalvin Cook, James White, Tariq Cohen as your running backs. Really solid pass-catching running backs here. Really good for PPR. Smart strategy. Keenan Allen, Kenny Galladay as wide receivers, and then O.J. Howard as tight end.
Oh, yeah, I definitely need some wide receiver depth coming up. But if Keenan Allen catches 100 balls, I'm in good shape. Because I would say I'm definitely strongest at running back right now. But as we're about to see, the running back depth in fantasy drafts falls off a cliff after round 7, or really after round 6. So now I don't have to worry about it anymore. I could conceivably leave the draft with these 4 running backs, and I'd feel fine about my team.
Rob, what are we going with
I'm
here?
stuck between Luck and Mayfield right now.
Ooh,
Way too early for Baker Mayfield.
we
Do
know
you
how
think so?
we know how Scott feels about Luck.
I mean, you know.
Big Luck guy.
Big Luck guy. But Andrew Luck is ranked 75th. Not that I put too much stock in the rankings, but it does mean, like, am I getting a value? Am I not getting a value? And there you go. Andrew Luck was 75th. Baker was 103. So that means he's going much later. So you can afford.
And he's on the Colts.
Yeah. Exactly. Was he second or third last year, Sean? Because I said that a couple pods ago, and you said Matt Ryan in the same one. And I don't know if I missed it or something or not.
Luck was actually fifth.
He was fifth last year. Okay.
But it's because he had
Totally wrong.
2 games, week 13 and 15, he had 2 games where he didn't throw any touchdowns. He had like basically 9 points in both those games. But on a per-game basis, I mean, you're looking at a top-flight QB1. I would say, like, he's a guy you definitely feel good about having.
Yeah, I was dead wrong about that. I kept on saying that like over and over. He was number 2 after Deshaun Watson. And he was not. He was just not.
Oh, Rob's taking a sweet time on this next pick. I could see he's staring at Sterling Shepard thinking about it, I bet.
With a broken thumb. Beginning of round 8 here.
He's got 2 running backs at this point, too, so something to keep in mind. I know who I would pick here. I'm not going to tell you. I'm going to see if you figure it out.
I love this quote by Sterling Shepard.
I'm about to do something stupid.
Oh. What are you gonna do?
Oh.
I'm about to do something really stupid.
That's always a good sign.
Sterling Shepard goes,
oh, God.
My thumb is broken, but my legs aren't. That's like a baller.
Oh, that's a sneaky good pick right there. Marvin Jones. He's criminally underrated year after year, and now with Golden Tate out of the picture, I kind of like it. I don't love it, but I like it.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to sugarcoat it. You can really just rip me apart if I.
Yeah, I don't like that at all. I'll be honest with you. But
if it was me, Scott, who do you think I would have picked if I was there?
I think you would have picked Allen Robinson and kind of like put up with it, or Robbie Anderson.
No.
Robbie Anderson's your guy. I feel like
I was between Robbie Anderson and Austin Eckler there because I think if Melvin does get traded, Austin Eckler, like, he could be a league winner because as long as he's healthy.
Damn.
The only thing is, can he stay healthy? Because as soon as Gordon got hurt last year, Eckler got hurt immediately because he couldn't handle that full workload. So
small guy,
you know, he's going to be productive when he's on the field. It's just a matter of how often he's on the field.
He surpassed, I think, 1,000 scrimmage yards last year between catching and rushing. Rushing, he had 554 yards. Someone just took him.
Sabine. Oh, my God. He's been listening.
I completely panicked picking Jones.
We should have done like a Instagram live thing. Maybe he's tapping into our phones right now. Sabine has a low-key really good team.
Jared Cook in round 8.
God! Those
That's
are literally
such a great
the 2
pick
guys I was going to pick
Team
next.
Yates.
Dude, are you kidding me? All right, well, I guess I'm not going to pick those guys. I was literally going to pick Austin Eckler, and then he got taken. And then the next pick was Jared Cook, and I was going to pick him. And he got.
Oh, you're going to double up on tight ends. That's interesting.
No, I don't have.
Oh, you don't have one. Oh, I thought you took Ingram.
This is where I take a tight end. I take Cook every single time.
So now the listeners get to hear you play the tight end roulette game at the end of the draft. That's really kind of fun.
Yeah,
I kind of like that.
That is fun, actually. Well, I have 50 seconds for this next pick, and the next tight end is Vance McDonald at 99. Yeah, well, stay tuned. We'll see what happens there. I'm picking.
And just for listeners out there, it's key that I know Scott's not going to do this, but if you're in the same situation, don't panic. Don't pick the next tight end because you didn't get Jared Cook there.
No,
you can wait. You just might as well just wait a round, maybe even 2 or 3 rounds until you look at it again. Just because. If you lose your guy, especially at a position like quarterback or tight end, don't just jump to the next one because there's too much value to be had.
Right. And if you don't like, Vance McDonald, don't take Vance McDonald.
Ooh, Dante Pettis. See, Scott, that's another. He's kind of in that 49ers receiver logjam, but I think we all assume he's going to be the top dog there.
But we don't know.
From George Kittle.
Yep. Yeah, it's a tough one. I'm banking on George Kittle not having good chemistry with Garoppolo. That's honestly what I'm banking on here. Dante Pettis is going to take that second-year leap. What's his name? What's the rookie's name? I kept on talking about him.
Oh, Deebo Samuel.
Deebo Samuel, I don't think he's ready yet. Marquise Goodwin is kind of a one-trick pony. Kittle should have some regression to the mean, like lower yards and touchdowns. So that's really where I was coming from with that. And I feel like Dante Pettis fits the mold of Kyle Shanahan's like X receiver the most. Like Deebo Samuel's a smaller guy. Pettis, I feel like could be like the guy there, but it is risky. However, I have 3 pretty solid wide receivers if they're all healthy, so I feel like I could take a risk there.
Also, he has great hair. He has great hair, so that's a huge plus.
A+ hair. All right, Sean, we got you up now. So the last 3 picks were Sterling Shepard, Robbie Anderson, and Darius Geis. So next on the board, we're looking at round 8, pick 10. We have Will Fuller, D.D. Westbrook, Christian Kirk, Emmanuel Sanders, Corey Davis, Rashad Penny, Darrell Henderson. This spot, this zone is terrible for wide receivers, in my opinion. I know you like your guy Will Fuller, but
I'm taking him. I'm taking Will Fuller because I will. I was talking to my brothers about him the other day. He's a wide receiver 1 when he plays, and he's going to only play probably like 5 or 6 games because he gets hurt every year. But I'll take that. I'll take that because if Kenny Galladay isn't what I think he is, I need someone that I can plug in when he's on the field. So he's definitely someone I'm taking there. And then now I'm just looking at a whole bunch of nothing at this point in the draft. This is brutal.
Yeah, this is like the dead zone to me. Like round 6 is but this is
right here. If a quarterback was higher, like I could reach for my guy Wentz here, but I don't need to. I can probably get him at the next turn. I might be able to,
unless someone takes him.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna gamble that you won't because Baker will still be there, hopefully. But
I have Deshaun Watson, but
true.
Just to play a mess around.
See, in this range, we have Jared Goff, Kyler Murray, and this is going from the bottom up. Russell Wilson, Dak, Big Ben, Breeze, Wentz, and those are all, Baker, Cam. Those are all guys that are going in round 10. And right now, I'm at the beginning of round 9. The problem is
you're at the end of round 10.
I don't like anybody on the board, so I almost feel like I'm going to take my grocery stick here, and I'm going to pull a Scott, and I'm going to take Baker Mayfield.
Oh, all right. I dig it. I dig that.
This is upping the fun factor of my team because when I look at some of the guys like Kenny Galladay and OJ Howard and kind of like James White, I'm not super thrilled to watch them every Sunday, but Baker, I'll tune in.
I dig it.
Fun factor. Can you make that into an actual metric?
Yeah, we'll put like BS statistics next to it. Like Baker Mayfield has a 93.7 fun factor.
I like that. I think that actually should be a metric.
Oh, and one pick after Carson
Wentz
goes. See, we were thinking the same way right there.
Well, see you later. This is such a Sean team, except for Baker. I didn't think you would take Baker. You're probably trying to get Wentz in a real mock or a real draft. But
yeah,
Baker, Christian McCaffrey, Dalvin Cook, Keenan Allen, Kenny Galladay, OJ Howard, James White, Tariq Cohen, and Will Fuller. I've
owned every single one of these players except for James White. He's the only one I haven't owned before. And Baker, obviously.
Baker,
so every other player
Baker queued.
Has survived the gauntlet of me owning them for a year. Like I'm extremely critical of guys on my team. All these guys have survived that process and have now made it to this mock draft team. So they should be proud.
It's funny. 2 people just said they had Baker queued in our chat.
And that's when you know it's a good pick.
Yep. This is an interesting pick for me because I have round 9, pick 5, but everything just like scrambled. Like ESPN changed their rankings again. I could pick Nyheim Hines in Indianapolis and kind of he's not really a handcuff to Marlon Mack though. That's the problem. Latavius Murray, Christian Kirk, Emmanuel Sanders. I don't like any of these guys to be honest with you. So I think what I'm going to do here, I have 4 wide receivers, 3 running backs, 1 quarterback. Oof. I'm just going upside here. I'm taking Royce Freeman.
Nice. That's what I was worried you were going to reach for a tight end right there. The way you were talking scared me because I was looking at Vance McDonald and I was not too thrilled for you. But I like that. I put Philip Lindsay as my possible bust candidate for running backs.
Yes.
If that's the case, Royce Freeman kind of lives up to expectations of last year? ? He could be a really nice pick.
Yeah. 3rd round pick, right? Out of the draft. Did terribly last year. Like, we get it. But when he was the starter, like week 1, he didn't do badly. Seattle, he had 15 carries for 71 yards. Not bad. No catches. But Philip Lindsay really took off week 2 and on. And then he was hurt. He broke his arm, I think, Christmas night. And I know that for a fact because I would have beaten Chris in the championship round if he had just had 5 more points. Not going to talk about it. But Royce Freeman in Week 17 against the Chargers, 17 carries, 60 yards, 8 catches for 43 yards as well. So showed his chops off a little bit. Could very well be a split backfield here this year.
Here comes Rob, the 9-10 turn. Let's see what Rob's team's looking like. He's got Luck, Chubb, Jacobs, Beckham, Adams, Henry, Ridley, and then Marvin Jones as the first guy off the bench.
2 running backs.
Still pissed about Jones.
You're a little thin at running back right now. Like, if you picked a running back instead of Marvin Jones, you might be in a little bit of a better spot.
Fuck.
But your wide receiver core is obviously the strength of this team with Odell and Devontae Adams.
So what's your recommendation here? I need help.
Well, you need a running back. The problem is I don't love the running backs on the board right now. You're looking at like Rashad Penny, Naeem Hines, Peyton Barber, yuck. LaShawn McCoy, yucker, if that's a word. Ronald Jones, the worst of those 3. I mean, Jordan Howard's terrible.
If I were you, I'd probably pick Rashad Penny just on the off chance that he could split
That's
carries
what I
with
was
Chris Carson.
thinking.
Yeah,
exactly.
And
he was a first-round pick.
Right.
Oh, my God, Scott. We are, like, simpatico
Are we
right now.
sabotaging each other?
I would pick Penny or Hines. That's who I would pick.
Those are 2 solid picks, too. I mean, Hines is only a pass catcher, and this is a PPR league, but Marlon Mack's the guy. Yeah,
Penny.
I like Rashad Penny there. It's a good pick.
Penny with
And now you buy yourself
Penny
some
with
time to think. And, I mean, you have quarterback and tight end already accounted for, so you're just going upside now. Pick upside.
That's the other thing with these like picks that you have 2 in a row. Take your time on the first pick. Because the last thing you want to do is like, oh, I know my guy. In 10 seconds, you pick the first guy, and then you're up right again. And then all of a sudden, you're like scrambling with 10 seconds left. And you're like, oh my God, I don't even know. You have 3 minutes there to pick 2 guys, basically. So if you know one guy, take 3 minutes for the second guy.
Great point. So,
Wait, so you're saying to... Go ahead. Can you explain again?
So you know you're going to take Penny. So you take the entire time knowing you're taking Penny with the first pick, thinking about the second pick. Instead of now, by the time I finish explaining this to you, you have 30 seconds to pick your next guy. You have 3 minutes from the time the pick starts to worry about the second guy.
It should be another wide receiver, though, right?
It's up to you. At this point, I would say it's just about the guy that could possibly break out. That's all you're looking for right now. And there's a couple guys that could break out here. Hines, maybe. Corey Davis, finally, question mark, maybe.
Maybe.
Probably not. Kiki Kuti is a guy that I'm kind of intrigued by, actually, at this range.
Now we have 5 seconds left. Sean, elite time management on your part. You said with 30 seconds left, that by the time I'm done explaining, it'll be 30 seconds left. It was literally 30 seconds left. So.
Oh, yeah. See, I planned ahead. I'm a big time guy.
Big time guy.
Who did Rob go with? He went with Corey Davis.
Davis.
See, he's a guy that I was intrigued by last year, and the only thing holding him back at this point is his quarterback play. So
yeah,
if Mariota steps up, or if Tannehill somehow, no, it's not going to be Tannehill. If Mariota steps up, Corey Davis could be a good player. The problem is it's been forever since Mariota's played well.
Right. Here's the thing, though. That pick could win you your league. Like, you pick Emmanuel Sanders there. Don't expect to win your league, to be honest with you, because we know what he's done in the past. His quarterback play, it's a run-first team. His quarterback play is Flacco, which is worse than Case Keenum over the last 2 years. Corey Davis is in his 3rd year now. He was a 5th overall draft pick. Like, he could hit it huge. He could be the number 1 guy there. Now they have A.J. Brown to, like, take targets off of him. So, I love that pick. This is what you're trying to do in, like, rounds 8 through 12, though, right, Sean? Like, home run hits, like we talk about.
Exactly. Like, for example, I already know who you have your eye on in 2 picks from now, and it's a similar guy.
Oh,
and he plays for Carolina.
Yeah, damn it. Shut up. Leave me alone.
But, I mean, Curtis Samuel is in the same boat as Corey Davis. High pedigree guy.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of underperformed, so his draft value is depressed into round 10. And if he pops, I mean, you're looking at a starter that you paid a 10th round pick for, you know, and if you get that, then your team can afford to have T.Y. Hilton not live up to expectations. It can have Marlon Mack get hurt, and you can still have a flex. Like, that's what you're really looking for here. Guys that explode and give you like consistent week over week production, and not guys like Peyton Barber who just went ahead of you. That's not what you want.
I'm good. Or LaShawn McCoy. I'm good. Think about it this way, too. DeAndre Hopkins, Devontae Adams, Michael Thomas, these guys were drafted 100th overall after their rookie years.
Yeah.
120th overall, and now they're top 10 guys. You know what I mean? So, like, that
Kamara,
jump,
same thing.
Kamara, he wasn't even drafted. So that jump, it might sound like, oh, Curtis Samuel with, like, 9th, 10th pick. Like, no. He could very well be the next DeAndre Hopkins. We don't know. Corey Davis could be, too. He's getting drafted so late. So, I went with Curtis Samuel. You know me so well, Sean. All right, now we got, let's see, one more pick until Sean. Cortland Sutton just went. Vance McDonald's gone. Sean McCoy's gone. Cortland Sutton. Now we got Sean with his round 10, pick 10, and then round 11, pick 1.
Oh, boy.
So look at that, guys like Ronald Jones, Jordan Howard still on there, David Njoku, Delaney Walker, Cam Newton Cam Newton's barely getting drafted here. It's crazy.
Yikes. At this range, this is like... I'm going to be honest, when I mock, I rarely go past round 10. This is like where I finally get fed up and leave.
I kind of do too.
But there's not much I'm excited about here. Like maybe you're a Ronald Jones believer. I'm not personally. Let's see.
Do you take Kiki Cutie knowing that you have Will Fuller already on your bench?
See, he's intriguing to me because like he definitely has the chops to be a solid NFL receiver. It's just a matter of like if Will Fuller is healthy,
right,
then he's not really going to be utilized that much. But at this range, I mean, I'm not interested in Dante Moncrief, you know?
No. Although he has been dazzling people in camp. Maybe the second best guy there behind Juju Smith. Never know. He's listed as a starter opposite Juju Smith.
Since Baker is kind of that like boom or bust guy, I'm picking the safest backup quarterback in fantasy football this year, Russell Wilson.
Wow. Very nice.
It's a little bit of a... Honestly, I reached a little bit based on where he's going at the moment, but I mean, I'm excited about that right there. And back it up with Kiki Kuti, just like we mentioned. Now I have that second wide receiver spot on Houston lockdown. So Will Fuller gets hurt. I plug in Kuti. So basically my wide receiver 3 is Houston's second wide receiver, opposite DeAndre Hopkins.
Love that.
I will say I'm very impressed by the fact that there's only 2 auto picks right now in the entire draft.
It's a really long draft, honestly. Rob, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm just pissed off that I picked Jones. I feel like I could have done much better than that. I just panicked.
Don't get down on yourself.
I feel like this one pick ruined my whole thing, you know?
That's the last thing you want to do is think one pick ruined it. Just got to go with it. You got to have confidence, man.
You're right.
You made that pick for a reason, you know? I'm picking David Njoku here.
Yeah, because I was panicking.
Wow, that's value. You waited until round 11.
Yep.
And I said in like round 6, like I picked O.J. Howard because I didn't want to have Njoku, but I was thinking Njoku I would have to spend like a round 8 or 9 pick on him. So
yep, exactly.
Definitely got a good value there.
So I figure, all right, let's hurry it up here, people.
Yeah, at this point in the draft, you're just looking. What I'm looking for, honestly, I'm picking talented guys in crowded backfields. So I might take like a Carlos Hyde. I might take a Jerick McKinnon at this point.
Love Jerick McKinnon here.
I'm gonna pick if I hadn't already. I pick up my backup running back here. Maybe some rookies, DK Metcalf, Anthony Miller, a second-year guy. Like that's the kind of guy I'm looking for at this range because I'm not really interested in Michael Gallup, Dante Moncrief.
Those guys, yeah. Michael Gallup, run first team. If they have Zeke, he's the second guy. Dak doesn't throw it a ton, right? So these are the things you got to think about. Like, what kind of team construction do the Dallas Cowboys have? They're a run first team. Defense is pretty good. They want to ground and pound it and run the clock out. They're not going to throw it. Gallup is not getting 1,000 yards this year. Let's just put it that way. And then you got Dante Moncrief and James Washington literally going one after another. Dante Moncrief is a starter, but like James Washington could be the second best guy, but we don't know. Like we have no idea.
Deontay Johnson might be the guy that overshadows both of them.
Right. Exactly. Yep. Too many unknowns. Deshaun Jackson, we know what he is in this point in his career. 1,000 yards only once, I believe, or twice out of like 11 years he's been in the league. Geronimo Allison, that's an interesting pick because Aaron Rodgers' second wide receiver always does well, but again, Marquez Valdes-Scantling is going right after him. I wouldn't put too much stock into that, but like that's a guy I would pick here, Geronimo Allison, who did it before. He could hit it big. And again, Carlos Hyde, Kalen Ballage, Jerick McKinnon, those kind of guys that have upside. Rob, great pick, Jerick McKinnon.
Oh, that's a classic Rob pick.
Someone picked Kareem Hunt here.
Jerick McChicken.
I guess.
Interesting.
I mean,
I hate that, honestly.
You're gonna have. He's gonna. That's the kind of guy you wind up dropping because you get frustrated halfway down the season when you need a bench spot. You know, you're kind of wasting it at that point.
Good, more for me and you.
I'm kind of shocked that Eric Ebron is going this late. I mean, I don't want him on my team, but I mean, he was like a top. What was he? Top 4 tight end last year.
Yeah.
So I get the Doyle's back, but it's kind of crazy how late he's going now.
I think it was just because of touchdowns. Like, it was just so fluky, 13 touchdowns.
Yeah.
People just know it's not going to repeat that. I went with Kalen Ballage, who could be the starter. We talked about him ad nauseum, but is that a word, ad nauseum?
Bellagio.
Ad nauseum. Like AD space nauseum. Like, I don't know exactly what it means. I always think of it as like so much it makes me nauseous. That's what I like.
Got it.
That's pretty much it's the Latin
like
word
you've exhausted
for
it.
a whale's vagina.
I missed who took Kyler Murray because I was thinking about taking him as my third quarterback here.
It was like a round ago.
Is so mouthwatering. It's like we're talking about quarterback 1 upside that you get in round 12. I mean, that's pretty nice.
It's because of the rushing ability, right?
Absolutely.
Weapons aren't bad.
All right, so 2 breakout candidates here, and actually 1 breakout candidate and 1 elite handcuff. I think Carlos Hyde. I'm going to pick him because I'm not buying that Damian Williams can stay healthy.
He's hurt already.
Slash is a full-time starter. So if that's not the case, Carlos Hyde, we know. I mean, he's kind of washed at this point, but he's in Kansas City's offense. 3 touchdowns. Thank you very much. And then Anthony Miller is a guy that I'm really excited about.
Oh, I dig that pick.
Side note about Anthony Miller, there's a video going around of Matt Nagy the coach of the Bears, throwing passes, and guess which Bears receiver he elected to throw to? Of course, it's Anthony Miller. That just says it all right there.
He's still got a cannon too, Nagy.
Yeah. All right, things are starting to slow down here. We got one more team on auto pick here, but I got to give all these guys props. They are sticking with it. Aside from Team Pop, Team Garza, and Team Carrera, we have Team Ritz, Team Yates, Team Sabine Jr. Those guys are sticking with us here, and I appreciate it.
I'm going to tell them don't forget to subscribe again.
Oh, yeah. Tell them to review, and we'll give them some Taco Bell, too.
True that.
Okay, so I have 1 quarterback, 1 tight end, 5 running backs, 5 wide receivers. I feel good about the depth that I have for running back and wide receiver here. I got, my starters. Backup, though, I got AJ Green, Dante Pettis, Royce Freeman, Curtis Samuel, Kalen Ballage. So what I'm going to do here is stack up my tight ends because I don't feel great about my starter, David Njoku. So I just took Trey Burton.
Nice.
Who I feel like I can get tight end 1 production out of both of them if one of them hits, or like bye weeks or injuries or whatever it is. So, I mean, the jury's out on Njoku. Like, might be too many mouths to feed, but I'm not overly concerned about tight end this year. I never am, though. Maybe I should be more.
I would say you're kind of in the range where like Chris Herndon would have been a possible name there.
Yeah.
But that 4-game suspension is like a killer because you're already unsure if he's even a starter, and now you have to wait 4 weeks to week 5 to play him. So I definitely like the Trey Burton pick. Again, you're kind of living the nightmare of not getting the tight end you want early on. That's really what is tough for fantasy owners out there.
Oh, I didn't realize I had all these extra bench spots. Jesus, why'd I pick a kicker?
I don't know. Dude, Sabine is a boss. Barry Sabine Jr. I said, guys, don't forget to
Should
subscribe.
I pick Tom Brady, pick a second quarterback?
Yeah, why not?
Hell yeah.
just to trade him later. Why isn't anyone
Greg the
picking
leg.
Tom Brady?
What a choice.
This guy Sabine said, I did subscribe already. When should the episode go up? What a boss this guy is. Next Tuesday or Wednesday, man. What is that, August 13th? Boss.
Let's read this guy's team out, too. I mean, Team Sabine Jr., he's got Drew Brees, Todd Gurley, Sony Michel, Amari Cooper, Brandon Cooks, Kelsey, DJ Moore, Philip Lindsay, Eckler, Naeem Hines, Cam Newton, Jordan Reed, DK Metcalf. Some players I really like, some players I definitely don't like, but, you know, he's definitely going to have the best tight end of the league. That's for one.
All right, I went Mitch Trubisky there as my backup quarterback, so that fills out all my backup spots. And I'm just looking at defense and kicker here now.
I'm looking at my last player before my defense and kicker, and I almost wish I had two of these spots. Like, I almost wish I picked like a defense or kicker earlier instead of like,
yeah,
I don't know.
It kind of sucks waiting on them.
See, now I'm going to like, there's so many guys that I would like here, but this is a guy, Lamar Jackson. Thank you very much.
I'm getting a running.
I'll do it all day because I'm getting a running back at my quarterback spot. So again, if he comes out of the gate and scores 25 points the first 2 weeks because he's running the ball 15 times, scoring rushing touchdowns, then I start looking at, you know, possibly trading Russell Wilson, you know, which I would gladly do if I have two other studs. And the butt kicker. Love the butt kicker.
Oh.
Harrison Butker.
I'm going to wait until he got that. Butt kicker. Rob, how do you feel about your team, dude?
You know, I feel okay about it. Other than the fact that I picked Jones and then didn't realize I had 4 more bench spots. I think I'm doing okay.
All right. As long as you're hanging in there, man. You also took 2 San Francisco running backs, which, not going to lie, you didn't pick the starter, but you picked the 2 backups.
Well, those aren't my best choices either.
You know what, though? Like rounds 11 through 15 or like 10 through 14, they really separate the cream of the crop, and you're getting better. Like your team in years past, your first 5 rounds would have like disqualified you from contention. But Odell, Devontae Adams, Nick Chubb, Josh Jacobs, like that's a scary team. Andrew Luck, like that's a solid team.
I kind of feel like I want to do this like 20 more times before I actually.
Scott and I do it like 20 times a day at this point.
I'm really way too many times.
I really feel like I'm learning a lot, especially when I do it with you guys and you help me with the picks.
Oh, thanks.
This is what I have needed to do for 3 years now.
Yeah, we've been telling you to do it.
The best part is like you've done mock drafts on the podcast before, and like I feel like
I know
this is the first time you're actually like paying attention to it.
Also,
thinking, yeah,
this is the 3rd year in a row where we've had to have Rob reset his ESPN password because he forgot it.
Yes,
before the mock draft. Oh, another thing about defenses, I usually wait for defense on the last round. Like I pick a kicker first because like you have a good offense, and you could potentially have a solid kicker there, like Will Lutz on New Orleans. Like New Orleans is going to be a good offense. I picked Justin Tucker, Greg Zuerlein. So those guys are like tried and true. Defense, people laughed me out of the room 2 years ago when I said to pick the Jaguars defense because they were playing the Texans with Tom Savage week 1. And then look who's laughing. Jaguars were number 1 overall defense. So I would pick one with upside that has a couple of guys that maybe you know about, like pass rushers, safeties, and that has a good week 1 matchup with like an offense that's terrible.
Another side note, you don't need like the best defense in the NFL for it to be a good fantasy defense. Like, for example, the Eagles a couple years, like last year, objectively good defense. Like they were stacked, but they were the 26th ranked fantasy defense because they don't score touchdowns because they play to limit the opposing offense. You might as well take a more opportunistic defense like the Texans, or the Broncos. The Texans scored 4 defensive touchdowns last year. Right. And I think that's kind of a sustainable number when you look at like J.J. Watt, who in years past has scored like 3 by himself. Like, it definitely could happen.
Yep.
Did you guys catch Zach Ritz's comment there in the chat?
Oh, let's take a look. Oh, yeah, he likes the Packers.
He says, everyone's sleeping on the Packers defense. I personally hate the Packers, but their defense will be top 10. They have a very strong secondary with
Jerry.
How do you pronounce that?
Zaire. Or Jair Alexander.
Jair Alexander and other parts. And the front 7 was improved with Za'Darius and Preston Smith.
They also drafted, what's that guy from Michigan? Rashawn Gary in the first round. Who's a pass rusher.
What do you guys think? Hot take, or is he right?
He could be right, honestly.
I feel like it's the kind of defense that is good in the NFL, but not great for fantasy. That's the only thing, because I don't think like Zaire Smith is going to have a bunch of pick sixes. He's more of like a shutdown cornerback.
Here's the other thing you got to look at is like defensive coordinators too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, I love the Browns' defensive personnel. Who's their defensive coordinator?
The Browns?
Yeah, I don't even know who it is. So it's
it used to be Greg Williams, but not anymore. We have them now. I actually don't know who the defensive coordinator is. Oh, Ritz is asking when the podcast will be aired. Next. I'm going to tell him great hot take.
Here I am, the last pick of the draft. And in all honesty, I'm sitting here looking at a defense that in my actual leagues, I'm going to drop the second the draft ends and go pick up a different position player. Like I'm fine picking up a defense right before Thursday Night Football, week 1. There's no need to roster them.
That is such a good point.
Yep. I'll take the Ravens here, but they're going on the waiver wire as soon as the draft ends in a real league.
All right, so let's take a look at the rosters.
Draft over. How do we feel?
Give me a grade.
I feel pretty good about this team. I think this is a team that will get me to the playoffs, but I don't know if it's a championship caliber roster. I feel like I'm lacking a little bit of like that super high ceiling.
The oomph.
Yeah, a little oomph lacking. Like when I look at your team, if you have that oomph with AJ Green, like if he is healthy, like this is an X Factor roster. Yeah. Exactly.
So let's go. We did pick by pick, but let's just do a quick like recap, and we'll post this on our Instagram like with some cool visuals if we can. But unqualified Sean team: Baker Mayfield, Christian McCaffrey, Dalvin Cook, Keenan Allen, Kenny Galladay, OJ Howard, James White. Ravens defense: Harrison Butker. Solid starters. Wide receiver 2, maybe a little shaky, but Kenny Galladay, we talked about him. Then you also have Tariq Cohen, Will Fuller, Russell Wilson, Kiki Cutie, Carlos Hyde, Anthony Miller, Lamar Jackson, stacked with upside in that bench. So I love that.
Yeah, and I would say the only championship I won last year, I had a suspect wide receiver 2 spot the entire year. I had John Brown in there. I had Allen Robinson in there. So I feel like as long as like Keenan Allen is rock solid as a wide receiver 1, I can get away with three good running backs in PPR and piecing together that wide receiver 2 spot. I'd rather do that than piece together my running back 2 spot any day of the week.
Kind of a zero wide receiver strategy, right? We always talk about the zero running back, but this is like a zero wide receiver, and it's definitely shifting. I agree with you. Unqualified Rob team: Andrew Luck, Nick Chubb, Josh Jacobs, Odell Beckham, Devontae Adams, Hunter Henry, Calvin Ridley, Rams defense, Greg Zuerlein starters. Solid group of starters there, man. Really stacked wide receivers. And then we got Marvin Jones, which you love, Rashad Penny, Corey Davis, Jerick McKinnon, Matt Breida, Austin Hooper, who I actually love as a tight end too, and I think he should be drafted in way more leagues. And then Deshaun Hamilton, which is actually a solid sleeper pick for wide receiver. Great name too.
It's actually Deshaun, like he's got DAE. I like that.
Dig that. How do you feel?
All right, so give me a grade and then also rate the fun factor.
All right, he likes it. He's just sleeping on us. Okay, my team: Deshaun Watson, David Johnson, Aaron Jones, Tyreek Hill, T.Y. Hilton, David Njoku, Marlon Mack, Broncos defense, Justin Tucker. My starters, and then I got AJ Green, Dante Pettis, Royce Freeman, Curtis Samuel, Kalen Ballage, Trey Burton, and Mitch Trubisky. We did a little tandem with the Chicago, Mitch Trubisky and Trey Burton. So, if I do end up plugging both of them in, could have some solid, 10 points per touchdown there, right? 4 points for passing touchdown, 6 for if Trey Burton catches it.
Love that stack. Love that. The quarterback tight end stack is
I love that.
It's like I had that in the Brady Bros League last year with Mahomes and Kelsey. That was maybe the most joy I've had as a fantasy owner. And that's saying a lot.
Music to our ears. All right. Overall, solid draft.
Yeah, we're almost ready for draft season. It's only a few weeks away. I know the rankings are going to jump around a lot between now and then, but I mean, I feel good. I feel like I've done enough mocks to this point where I'm like ready to draft.
Yeah, I'm ready to mock like 20 more times, and then I'll be ready to draft.
I need like 20
mocking.
more.
It's the best.
It really is the best. Shout out to all the guys that mocked with us too. I mean, they stayed in. They stayed in well past the point that I would have. Even the ones that went on auto pick, they stayed. Like, usually when I mock draft, I'll leave after, like, round 8, 9, or 10. They were in till, like, round 11. They stuck with it. They commented. They were asking questions. Great group of guys to mock with. I commend them. Because usually this experience sucks. But today it was good.
Completely agree. Appreciate you guys being on without knowing it. Well, they did know. We told them.
Good stuff.
So yeah, so there's
Thank
that.
you.
Wow, that's a long mock. Oh,
that is a long mock.
Thank you for sticking with us. That was a long process, but hopefully you took away some nice little tidbits from us along the way.
Enjoy the visuals.
Yeah, that was fun. I learned a lot, and I thought it was pretty cool to have all the other people in the draft chiming in.
Yeah, that was great. We got some good momentum there. Good movement from Team Yates, Team Carrera. I forget the other ones off my top of my head right now.
Ritz. Can't forget those guys.
Great people.
Couple of great names.
peoples.
Yeah. Don't forget to hit us up in the channels, subscribe on iTunes, leave a review with your Taco Bell order, and live Moss.
Live like Bob Wiley.
Live like Bob Wiley. Say it.
Live Moss mock drafts.
Well, see you later.